Welcome to the Everyday Words Podcast, your daily dose of etymology and vocabulary.
You know the feeling. You step into an elevator, the doors slide shut.
Oh, the dreaded elevator silence.
Right. You are suddenly just trapped in this tiny metal box with a complete stranger.
Or, even worse, sitting on a Zoom call waiting for the host to start.
Yes. You've never met the person on the screen, and that totally suffocating silence sets in. The panic starts to rise. And, what's the one master key we all reach for to unlock that situation every single time?
It's always the weather. Always.
The weather. You glance out a window or you look up at the sky and you just start talking about the clouds. So, welcome to this deep dive. Today we're taking a really fascinating look at the absolute #1 topic for making small talk anywhere in the world.
But we aren't just going to sit here listing off weather terms, right?
No, exactly. To figure out how to master this strange social dance, we're actually unpacking some sources today. Specifically, a transcript and episode description from an English listening practice audio called the Everyday Words Podcast.
And the track is titled Mastering the Art of English Weather Talk, which I love.
It's a great title. So our mission for you today is to reverse engineer this material. We want to explore exactly why something as mundane, as utterly ordinary as the weather, acts as this powerful, universal psychological tool for human connection.
It really is a tool. It's the ultimate social equalizer, isn't it? Whether you're a billionaire CEO or a college freshman, you both have to deal with the rain.
Right. You both get cold.
Exactly. And what's brilliant about the source material we're analyzing today is how it approaches that universal experience. It doesn't just, hand you a dry list of dictionary definitions.
Oh, definitely not.
It essentially frames weather vocabulary as a behavioral gateway to social confidence.
It really does. And the source audio does this brilliant, slightly manipulative thing right at the beginning to keep you hooked. It promises a secret.
Oh, yeah. The secret trick.
Yeah, it explicitly mentions that there's a special secret trick to sounding exactly like a native speaker when it's raining outside.
Yeah.
But, and this is the kicker, they save this trick for the very end of the track.
They deliberately make you wait for it.
They do. But don't worry, we're going to share that exact same secret trick with you today, but we're going to build up to it, tracing the psychological steps just like the source does. Okay, let's unpack this. Before we get to the high-stakes drama of pouring rain and extreme conditions, we have to start where most real-life small talk actually begins.
With the mild weather.
Exactly, the mild weather. The everyday, middle-of-the-road conditions where the most subtle linguistic distinctions actually carry the most social weight.
That's a crucial starting point, honestly, because extreme weather is easy. It kind of does the heavy lifting for you.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if there's a Category 5 hurricane or a massive blizzard outside, everyone instantly knows what to call it, right? The shared threat is super obvious.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But the subtle everyday weather requires a much more precise vocabulary to really communicate the physical sensation of being outside. The audio actually starts this journey by describing a beautiful, sunny day with a very blue sky and no clouds. But then it introduces this very specific word, which is chilly.
Which I found so interesting. Because chilly is essentially the Goldilocks zone of weather. I was actually thinking about this when reading the transcript. Chilly isn't winter coat, teeth-chattering cold.
Right.
But it's absolutely not summer t-shirt weather either. It occupies this very specific, slightly uncomfortable middle ground.
And what stuck out to me is how the source defines it. They don't give you a temperature range.
No, they don't give you a number at all. They specifically recommend dealing with chilly weather by wearing a light jacket or warm sweatshirt.
Which is so relatable.
It is. It's that exact temperature where you step outside your front door and immediately think, oh, I should have grabbed another layer.
Exactly. And that physical bodily reaction is exactly how they define the word, which is a highly effective way to teach. What's fascinating here is, it's how the source material explicitly ties abstract weather concepts to highly practical physical reality.
Like the clothes.
Exactly. Like you noted, they aren't giving you meteorological data or a number on a thermometer. They tell you what clothes you need to wear to survive it comfortably.
A sweatshirt is perfect for chilly weather.
Right. By anchoring the vocabulary in a lived physical experience, that slight shiver when you forget a jacket, it makes the concept incredibly sticky for the learner. It translates a word into a sensation.
And they do the exact same thing with the word breeze. Now, I have to push back on this one a little bit because I want to make sure we're getting the nuance right here.
Okay, let's hear it.
I've always felt like saying nice breeze today is just a complete throwaway line. It's like, I don't know, verbal elevator music.
Verbal elevator music, I like that.
But is a breeze really anything more than just a polite way of saying it's windy outside?
It's definitely more than just polite filler, and the source is very careful to distinguish this. A breeze is defined as a soft, gentle wind, but the real genius of the explanation is that they define it entirely by what it doesn't do.
What it doesn't do.
Yeah, a breeze is a wind that does not ruin your hair. And, crucially, it does not blow your hat away. It's explicitly described as relaxing.
Oh, wow. I do appreciate that negative definition. It's defined almost entirely by its lack of destruction.
Exactly.
If your favorite hat is suddenly flying down the street and you're sprinting past your neighbors trying to catch it.
You are definitely not experiencing a breeze.
Right. You're experiencing wind. But if your hat stays firmly planted on your head and you just feel a nice cooling sensation on your neck, that's a breeze.
It's an incredibly visual way to learn the distinction. You can literally picture the person with perfectly styled hair peacefully enjoying the weather versus the stressed out person battling the elements.
Precisely. Neurologically speaking, when you comment on a nice breeze to a stranger, you're not just filling silence, you're establishing a baseline of shared safety.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Shared safety.
Yeah, you're both verbally acknowledging that the environment around you isn't actively hostile. And that transition from the objective temperature outside to the subjective personal experience of navigating the weather, that brings us to a major shift in the source material.
Right. They move from talking about what the weather is to how different times of the year make people feel.
Yes. The emotional connection to the seasons.
Yeah.
You cannot separate the weather from the passage of time. The speakers in the source audio share these beautifully contrasting perspectives on their favorite times of the year.
They do, yeah. One of them absolutely loves autumn or the fall.
And the details they focus on are deeply sensory. They love when the leaves change color to orange and red, and they specifically single out how the air feels very fresh in their lungs.
Which is a stark contrast to the other speaker, whose preference is entirely different.
Totally different.
They love the summer, and they don't mince words. They explicitly state that they just like to be hot.
Just purely likes being hot.
Yeah. Their absolute ideal scenario is going to the beach and feeling the warm sun directly on their face.
Feeling the warm sun on your face. It's such a specific, universally understood comfort. But then there's the discussion of winter. This was, without a doubt, my favorite part of the source text.
Oh, I knew exactly what you're going to say.
Because it completely bypasses the romance of snow and goes straight for this hilariously relatable frustration. The speaker who loves summer admits that winter is just too fundamentally difficult for them.
And the reason why? It's not the blizzards.
Nope.
It's not slipping on the ice. It's because they constantly, unavoidably lose their winter gloves.
It's the classic, mundane winter tragedy. It's the ultimate winter problem. And the advice given in the audio is incredibly pragmatic.
What did they say? Just buy 3 pairs.
Yeah, just buy 3 pairs of gloves right at the start of the season just to be safe. Which, let's be honest, is phenomenal advice for anyone who has ever reached into their coat pocket in late January and pulled out a single, useless, unmatched glove.
Oh, I've absolutely been there.
We all have. But looking at these examples, the feeling of the warm sun on your face or the shared frustration of constantly losing your winter gear, it actually made me rethink our whole premise here.
How so?
Well, we always say that the weather is the ultimate topic for small talk. But is the secret to good small talk really just stating the name of the season?
Probably not.
Right. If I walk up to you and say, I sure like autumn, that feels like a dead end, isn't the actual magic in sharing those hyper-specific, slightly vulnerable sensory details?
That's a phenomenal distinction to make, and it really cuts to the core of why small talk often fails. If you just say, it's winter, you've simply stated a meteorological fact.
Yeah, it's a dead end.
Exactly. There's nowhere to go but to agree.
Yeah.
But if you say, I've already lost 2 pairs of gloves this winter, I'm a disaster.
Right, you're sharing a quirk.
You've shared a personal quirk. You've shown a tiny, low-stakes bit of vulnerability. You're extending an invitation to the other person to say, oh my goodness, me too, I'm constantly buying new ones.
Yeah.
It's that shared human struggle, the friction of living in the world that actually connects people, not the objective fact of the temperature.
And what's really clever is how the source material uses this entire discussion of the seasons and this concept of shared struggle to build a real sense of community with their audience in real time.
They absolutely do. Right in the middle of talking about the contrast between summer and autumn, they implement this highly intentional audience engagement mechanic.
I noticed that.
Yeah, they pause the lesson and ask their listeners to go down to the comments section of the podcast and type just one single word. The word season.
Literally just the word season, nothing else.
Yes. And they explicitly state that doing this shows the host that the listener is actively practicing their English and focusing on the talk.
Which is so smart.
It is. Now, on the surface, it seems overly simplistic, but psychologically, it transforms what could be a completely passive listening experience into an active learning task. It proves you're paying attention, and it builds what they refer to as their learning family.
It's a great technique for an audio course. But, if you're listening to us right now, you might be wondering why you should care about a comment section trick.
Right. How does this apply to real life?
Exactly. I think the takeaway is the power of micro-commitments. Whether you're typing a single word to feel like part of a class, or offering a single relatable complaint about your lost gloves to a coworker, those tiny, low-effort engagements are what shift the brain from passive isolation to active connection.
Oh, that's incredibly true.
But as pleasant as autumn leaves and summer beaches are, small talk flows very easily when there's a gentle breeze.
Sure, when everything's fine.
Right, you're comfortable, your hair looks great, you have all 3 pairs of your gloves. Here's where it gets really interesting. What happens to our communication and our vocabulary when the environment stops being pleasant and becomes actively hostile?
Like when the weather turns violently bad. Well, bad weather introduces an entirely different linguistic landscape. The source rightly points out that it rains a lot in many parts of the world, so knowing how to socially navigate this specific miserable topic is crucial for fluency.
And they introduce this incredibly vivid vocabulary word to handle it, which is pouring. They don't just settle for saying heavy rain. They use this amazing visual analogy.
Oh, the glass of water.
Yeah. They say that when it's pouring outside, it looks exactly like pouring water from a glass directly into a cup. The rain is heavy and it's fast.
The imagery of the glass of water is striking because it instantly conveys volume to the learner.
Right. It's not just a little sprinkle.
No, it isn't a mist. It's not a light drizzle you can ignore. It's a solid, heavy sheet of water falling from the sky. And once again, rather than just defining the word, the source immediately ties this extreme weather condition to highly practical survival gear.
The required survival toolkit for pouring rain. And the first item on their list is, of course, the umbrella, which the source playfully notes is actually a surprisingly hard word for learners to pronounce.
It really is.
Umbrella. 3 distinct syllables that can easily trip you up if you aren't careful.
And even worse, it's the one vital item you somehow always manage to forget at home on the exact day you actually need it.
Which inevitably leaves your clothes completely wet.
And absolutely nobody likes sitting in wet clothes. But the source makes an important point that when it's truly pouring, when that glass of water is tipping over on you, a small, flimsy umbrella is simply not enough. You need reinforcements.
You need the heavy artillery. You need rain boots. And the reasoning they give for needing rain boots is so visceral and universally understood.
It's to prevent the worst feeling in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's to prevent what the text confidently calls the absolute worst feeling in the world, which is wet socks.
Wet socks. It truly is a universally despised physical sensation. It completely ruins your entire day.
It really does. I mean, you step in a puddle you didn't see. Yeah. That freezing water seeps right through the fabric of your shoe, and suddenly your brain it short circuits.
You can't think about anything else.
You cannot focus on anything else. Your big meeting, your elevator small talk, your grand plans for the afternoon, everything goes right out the window because all your brain can process is the uncomfortable squish of your wet sock.
The squish.
It's awful. But sociologically, why is this such prime material for conversation? Why does complaining about a wet sock build rapport faster than talking about a beautiful sunny sky?
Well, because it creates a shared adversary. It's you and the stranger against the puddle.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, when the weather is beautiful, everyone is in their own individual bubble of enjoyment. But when the weather is terrible and everyone is risking the misery of wet socks, you instantly have a shared struggle.
Like the gloves.
Exactly. It lowers social barriers because complaining about the physical discomfort of the rain is a universally accepted way to signal, I'm having a hard time and I bet you are too. It validates the other person's discomfort.
That makes total sense. Shared misery bonds us.
Yeah.
And, What's the ultimate coping mechanism the source offers for this pouring, wet sock-inducing weather?
Retreat.
Total retreat. The advice is to just stay inside your house, brew a hot cup of tea, and avoid completely wet clothes altogether.
Which is incredibly sound, practical advice. If you don't have to go out in the pouring rain, simply don't. Stay inside with your tea, embrace the shelter.
Obviously.
But of course, in the real world, we rarely have that luxury. We do have to go outside, we have to leave the office, we have to navigate the lobby, we have to say our goodbyes to our coworkers, and we have to face the elements.
Which brings us perfectly to the moment we've been building towards this entire deep dive. Dealing with this miserable pouring weather and the threat of wet socks perfectly sets up the psychological need for the source's highly anticipated secret trick.
The ultimate native speaker hack.
Exactly. The big reveal that they dangled in front of us at the very beginning of the audio track. How do you end a conversation on a positive, confident note when the weather outside is terrible and everyone is absolutely dreading the cold, wet walk to their car?
And the secret trick is this.
When you're saying goodbye to a friend or a coworker at the office in the rain, don't just say the standard goodbye. Say, stay dry.
Stay dry. It's just two simple words, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, the psychology behind this specific phrase is incredibly deep and highly effective.
Break that down. Because the source claims native speakers use this exact phrase all the time. But why is it so much more effective than just saying, see you later?
Well, think about what usually happens when people are leaving work in a torrential downpour. They complain.
Oh, endlessly.
They talk about how terrible the traffic is going to be or how cold they're going to get, or they grumble about forgetting their umbrella. It's often a negative, tense interaction.
Right.
But when you look at someone and say, stay dry, you completely shift the dynamic of that departure. Instead of commiserating over the negative, you're offering a warm, proactive, friendly wish.
It's actually very kind.
It is. It functions as a clear sign of empathy. It shows that you actively care about the other person's well-being and their physical comfort as they head out into the storm.
It's basically the verbal equivalent of holding an umbrella over someone's head.
Oh, that's a perfect way to describe it.
You're acknowledging that the situation outside is genuinely bad. Like, it's pouring. The risk of ruined shoes and wet socks is incredibly high, but you're sending them out into the world with a little verbal shield of goodwill.
A verbal shield.
Yeah. Goodbye, stay dry. It's so remarkably simple, but it completely changes the entire tone of the departure. It leaves the other person feeling seen and cared for.
And that profound shift in tone is precisely why the speaker in the source audio feels so much more confident after learning it. They explicitly state that they're eager to use that trick the very next time it rains because it feels friendly, it feels empathetic, and it feels very natural to say.
It's empowering.
Totally. It moves them from feeling like an outsider struggling with vocabulary to an insider participating in a cultural ritual of care.
So what does this all mean for you? We've gone from the Goldilocks zone of a chilly breeze to the sensory vulnerability of losing winter gloves, all the way to the absolute misery of pouring rain and wet socks, oft culminating in this powerful two-word phrase, stay dry.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. And I think the true takeaway here answers the fundamental question of why we even bother analyzing these nuances in the first place. The source material spells out its ultimate philosophy very clearly near the very end of the track.
Right, about the goal of learning.
Yeah, the real goal of learning this vocabulary isn't just about memorizing the technical difference between a gentle breeze and a heavy wind.
No, the memorization is just the mechanical, surface-level part of the process. If you stop there, you've missed the entire point of language.
Exactly. The true goal, as the source beautifully puts it, is to connect with people and to feel confident in those connections. It's about having the right tools to confidently navigate those terrifying, socially demanding silences in the elevator.
Yeah, avoiding the panic.
It's about knowing exactly how to show a